Hi, today we're going to make fettuccine Alfredo. And this is a pretty rich sauce. It's mostly cream and cheese and butter. I don't think it gets much richer than that, but it's really good. And there are some tricks, so I really want you to pay attention to my hints about how to make this work. It's not the easiest thing to make. So let's get started. We'll look at our recipe first. 1.5 cups of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, salt, 9 ounces of pasta, 3/4 of a cup of grated Parmesan, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. So the first part is probably the easiest part. Get your pan warm, and what we're going to do is put in our 1.5 cups of heavy cream right into your pan, and that's a little warm. What you're going to want to do is once you get your cream in there, you want to bring it to just a very low rolling boil. You want to be able to see some bubbles on the top, and that's not happening quite yet. I'm going to add the butter in right now as well, the 2 tablespoons of butter. And this is the only 2 things that you're going to start with, and you're going to let this cook down, or in other words, reduce, for about 10 minutes. It's going to be a little bit of time. While the butter will melt pretty quickly, as you can see. And the reason we want it to reduce is because the cream will get thicker, and that's what you want. You want it to thicken up. And what you want to see here are just tiny little bubbles on the edge. You don't want it bubbling, boiling too much because it'll burn. So I would say I would have it on about medium heat. Once you get it warm, get it to about medium heat, and occasionally stir so it doesn't scald on the bottom. If you're worried about burning it, keep the heat just a little bit lower, and occasionally stirred, as you can see. Now I've got a little bit of a bubble going, and I'm going to let that actually reduce for about 10 minutes starting now. While that's reducing, I'll just show you. I have the 3/4 of a cup of freshly grated Parmesan. I used I think this is Belgizio, I think is what they call it, and you can get this at Walmart. If you must use the dried stuff in the green bottle, that's acceptable, but it won't be the best thing that you could use. It's very dry and it might be a little grainy. So try to go for a nice fresh block of Parmesan and grate it down to about 3/4 of a cup. Can we take a look at this real quick again? So that's too much. See how that's bubbling? That will burn. So I'm gonna take my heat down and try to get down to a low. But that's pretty good. You want it to cook for a little bit. At this point, I think we'll take a little break while this reduces, and make sure you get your pasta cooked and ready. Your pasta needs to be ready to go right into the sauce. It's kind of an immediate thing. You don't wait and put it on later. So have your pasta cooking while you're doing this, and get it drained. Save about 1 cup of pasta liquid, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that in a minute. Hi, so we've returned to see how our sauce is doing, and as you can see, this is what you want, you guys. You want to be able to make a river, and that's what we call it, right? You push it aside. Takes a little time to get back, and you can see how much it's reduced. There's a lot less in here, so it is concentrated, and it is beautiful, and it didn't burn, so we did good. Here we're going to add, at this point, our 3/4 a cup of freshly grated Parmesan, if you can. That's going to melt pretty quickly, so watch that. We're melting that right into, this is what makes your Alfredo so good. Take about a pinch, I would say a good pinch of salt, and throw it in there. Okay, mix it all up, get all that Parmesan melted. You want everything smooth and smooth and smooth. The next thing, and you really should add this because it makes it extra special, just a little pinch of nutmeg. Remember we talked about nutmeg last time? Don't put too much in, it's intense, but it really gives it that little extra special flavor that you need. That's really it, friends. So I'm going to take this off heat, which I have to do right here, close, off heat. And at this point, you're going to put it on your warm pasta. And make sure your pasta is warm. This is fettuccine. You can see the fettuccine. It's the long flat noodles. The best thing to do, if you can, get fresh fettuccine from the store. I could not find any when I was there the other day. A little difficult to find sometimes. But the fresh fettuccine is going to hold on to the sauce a little better than this dried stuff. But it's still going to be good. So don't worry about that. If that's all you have, use your dried fettuccine. You want the long, flat noodles. The flatter, the better. The wider, the better is what I meant to say. So there we go. We've got that right there. And remember, I mentioned to keep approximately a cup of your pasta sauce, pasta water, you know, that you cooked your pasta in. It has starch in it. You're going to want to do that because see how thick this is? It's a little too thick. So here's my hot pasta water, and don't be afraid. Just pour about, I would say, start with about a quarter cup. You want to thin it out just a little bit. You don't want it to seize up and get really sticky and gooey, and that's what it will do. And don't worry, the water will get absorbed. It will absorb right into your pasta. And actually, at this point, I think we've got it. This is our fettuccine Alfredo, and this one's pretty gooey. I didn't actually add all the pasta I was supposed to add, so I've got more sauce probably than I need. But it's looking pretty darn good. I'm going to give it a little bit of a pepper on top, and then just instead of making my own plate, I thought I would just take a little taste, so we get a little bit. You definitely want to taste it. So here we go. Get your spoon, take and twirl, and this is going to be a big mouthful, so I won't be able to talk for a minute. But oh my goodness, this looks wonderful. Wow, that's really good. It's really rich. I think you guys are going to love this. One of the things you can do, if you are meat eaters, you can add like grilled or roasted chicken to it. You can serve shrimp with this. Wow, sauteed shrimp and fettuccine Alfredo, amazing. Or you can eat it just like this. Absolutely delicious. So have fun making it. Read all my directions. I'm going to have other hints written down on the Moodle page. And enjoy it and share it with your family. And I'll see you Thursday at 4 o'clock.